this note, and Barry was very, very forthcoming this morning. He got on the program, and I know he's listening, so I want to thank him for manning up. He and I had a little friendly wager on the game this past Saturday. I had said, yeah, ching, that's right. I put a little extra change in my pocket, James, courtesy of one Barry Sanderson. But I had maintained all along that Jalen Hurts would play in the game. Barry, honestly, just went with his gut, and he didn't feel like that Jalen would. There were a lot of reports out there that not only would Jalen not play in the game, but he was definitely going to be redshirted, and we still don't know what's going to happen, okay? But I just felt like, based on, and I didn't really talk, I talked to some people, but this didn't come from anybody, really. It wasn't like I was talking to some inside sources or anything like that on this deal. I just was listening to what Nick Saban had to say, and he had maintained that both quarterbacks were going to play in the game, that both would have a substantial role going forward, and you know what? I took him at his word, and I took Nick Saban, as I said on a tweet that I put out on Saturday, maybe you just ought to listen to the head coach sometimes. You think he might have an idea what's going to happen in the game? I mean, I'm not trying to question anybody's reporting skills here or sources or anything like that, but I'm just saying, do you think Nick Saban might have his pulse on what's going to happen in the game, James? Would that be safe to say that the head football coach, the man that's won 5 national championships in 9 years, 6 overall, will go down as the greatest coach of his generation? You think he might have an idea of what's going to happen in the game?
You would hope so, Gary, that one of the, if not the best college football coach of all time would have some clue as far as what's happening on the field.
Now, I know a lot of us think we know more than Nick Saban. Many of us, from what I've seen on Twitter, a lot of people know more than Nick Saban, particularly when it comes out to handle these quarterbacks. We got more armchair quarterbacks out there and offensive coordinators and head coaches than I can count that don't think he knows what he's doing when it comes to quarterbacks. I'm not in that camp. Pardon me, as I've said before many times on this program, if I don't take your opinion ahead of Nick Saban's. I don't think that I know more than Nick Saban, and I don't think that you know more than Nick Saban. Now, you may disagree, some of you, but I'm just going to trust that he knows what he's doing and that he's going to handle this situation like he handles most situations. If somebody tweeted at me on Saturday, Nick Saban isn't perfect. Heck no, he's not. Absolutely not. Never said he was. No one is, even as a football coach. But as I tweeted back at this person when they said that he had botched this quarterback situation, I said, okay, you don't think that Nick Saban understands how to handle these quarterbacks? Who would you rather have as head coach? And I said, respectfully, I'm not trying to be sarcastic here. Who would you rather have? Just tell me. Who's out there that you would rather have running this program than Nick Saban? Oh, the guy came back and said, nope, he's the best coach. And then somebody else was tweeting at me about Jalen's best interest and Jalen's best interest. Nick Saban needs to have Jalen's best interest at heart. Well, maybe he does. In fact, I know he does. and as I've said before, nobody seems to take into account what Jalen wants. That's exactly what I've been doing. Maybe Jalen likes playing football at the University of Alabama. Has anybody ever thought about that? For all these people that said the day he wasn't named the starter that he was going to leave, maybe he doesn't want to leave. Is that a possibility? I'll ask Scott Moore that. I'll ask Rodney Moore that. Do you think there's a chance maybe that Jalen Hurts likes being a student at the University of Alabama, likes playing football here, likes having a role on this team even if he's not the starter? Is there any possibility that in today's age that somebody, even if they're not the starting quarterback, might still want to play for that team? Has anyone taken that into account? The assumption was just automatically, if Jalen's not the starter, well, then he's going to leave. Because God forbid that anybody would be a backup. God forbid that because you started 2 years, you're just mad, automatically going to pick up your football and leave and go somewhere else. He's never said that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. I'm going to listen to Nick Saban in his press conference today. Maybe he'll give us some insight. Tua Tagovailoa is the starting quarterback. That's been established. There's no doubt about that. So for all the people that are upset about Jalen playing, why are you upset? Tua's the starter. He's played brilliantly. He's converted every third down that he's had when he's been in the game. He's played magically. Well, he gets out of rhythm when he doesn't play the entire game. He's got to have. Well, does he have rhythm when he goes out there to start the game? I didn't see Tua do anything differently when he came into the game after he'd been out. Now, they were more conservative in the second half because they got a 47-point lead. And Nick Saban's just trying to get it to the locker room and not get anybody hurt. So they weren't throwing it all over the ballpark. But Tua played fine. Tua doesn't seem to have an issue with the quarterback situation. Jalen Hurts doesn't seem to have an issue with the quarterback situation. So why does everybody else have an issue with the quarterback situation? That's just my question. All right, we're going to still get to the headlines here, but right now we're going to go to the Bud Light Hotline powered by Adams Beverages at 205-342-9904. A good listener to the show, caller Larry from Florence, is on the line. Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Good. Hey, you hit the nail right on the head with this about what does Jalen want? We don't know.
That's
Jalen
right.
might have said, "Hey, I will take any playing time whatsoever that you give me." They got a quarterback coach this year. Okay, now if he goes to another program, they may not have a quarterback coach or a good one, and maybe he's looking at, okay, I'll still play this year. We've got a quarterback coach now. Maybe he can help me get better and move, and I can get up to the next level.
You're absolutely right, Larry. I mean, you said it all. We don't know what Jalen wants unless we've talked to Jalen. And I mean, really talked to him. I mean, sat down and had a conversation with him. Not me sticking a mic in his face and getting a standard scripted answer, but somebody that really has talked to him. And I haven't, so I can't tell you either. So I'm making some assumptions, but I'm just bringing it up, the possibility that maybe he wants to be here. Maybe he doesn't want to leave. Even if he's not the starter, maybe he's enjoying his role on the team. Nobody has taken that into account. And I mean, I have not heard it from anybody. Well, he's got to leave now. He's not the starter. Why would you want to be a backup? He wants to play. Well, he's playing. He's playing.
I think that's exactly it. If Jalen thought that it was not to his advantage or what he wants to stay there and to play as a backup, he would have made it known. I think that obviously this is what he wants. He wants to play at Bama in whatever role he can. And like I said, possibly he thinks that with a quarterback coach this year that this is a good opportunity to up his gameplay.
That's a good point, Larry. Dan Enos. I've already noticed some differences in 2 games watching Jalen play, watching him stand in the pocket, watching his eyes go downfield. When he runs, he's trying to slide, other than the one time he tried to score the touchdown and he got the ball knocked out. But for the most part, he is playing a little bit differently, and that's a good point, too. Maybe he wants to be coached by Dan Enos, who has a reputation for molding quarterbacks. So, Larry, you make a great point. He may still wind up leaving. I don't know. But all I'm saying is we just all jump to these conclusions and these assumptions, and this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And we don't even take into account what Jalen Hurts wants, how Nick Saban's going to handle this situation. And I think Nick Saban's handling it well. Now, Tua may take every snap against Ole Miss. And you know what? If he does, I got no problem with it because I think the head football coach knows what he's doing. I'm in the minority, evidently, among Alabama fans. But I trust that Nick Saban knows what he's doing. Hey, great call, Larry. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, have a good one.
We are trying to get to the break because we got to bring Scott Moore in, but let's take another phone call here real quickly before we do. Let's talk with Tom, and I know Tom has some thoughts on the situation. Good morning, Tom.
Gary, how are you this morning?
I'm great.
You are gloating up a storm this morning. How much money did you win off of Barry?
Well, I really don't want to say because I don't want the tax man coming after me. You know what I mean?
It's more about the fact that you won, true or false?
Well, no, it's the quarterback situation really. Now, yeah, I'm taking a lot of personal satisfaction in beating Barry head-to-head. But, yeah. Tom, you listen to the show every day. I've been very consistent on this quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
I really have.
I had to pick at you.
No. And am I disappointed that Jalen's playing? No, I'm not. Am I disappointed that Tua's the starter? No, I'm not. Am I thrilled that Saturday both quarterbacks played, I thought, exceptionally well? Yes, I am. Do I pull against, even though Austin Jones really struggled place kicking, I wasn't pulling for him to miss him. Now, I agreed when both of us came out there to kick, but I don't get the whole deal with some. And I've said some, Tom. But some people act like it's a personal deal. They're offended that Nick Saban has decided to play Jalen Hurts at quarterback some in the games.
don't get that part at all. I mean, he's been on the team. This is 3 years, isn't it?
Yes, this is his third year, 2 years as a starter.
And we've had a lot of success with him being on the field. Tons of success. And I was overjoyed when I saw him come out there relaxed, confident, and having fun playing football.
Absolutely.
Saturday.
You're right. He looked loose. He looked like there was no pressure on him. And for the folks that wanted Tua to be the quarterback, Tua's the quarterback. This is where this is where I hit my head up against the wall. All these people are so upset with how Tua's the quarterback. Let's don't forget that. He is the starting quarterback. He's the man. Jalen is the backup.
Let me give you a scenario that you are very familiar with, and I think you'll agree with me. I've been watching and going to Alabama games since 1964.
I know you have.
I have never in my life went through a season where the second-string quarterback wasn't the greatest quarterback of all time at Alabama. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it always is.
And now we got it both ways.
Right.
We've got everything going on that we've been saying since 1964 to my recollection. We got it both ways, and we still aren't happy.
Hey, Tom, we got to get to the break. I'm going to say this before we let you go. If folks, and you're right, I take some personal satisfaction in beating Barry Sanderson's butt. You doggone right I do. But let me tell you this. I do think, as you said, you agreed with me, I've been consistent on this deal. I just think the head football coach knows what he's doing. I really do. And I had a guy tell me on Twitter this, no, he doesn't. When it comes to quarterbacks, look at his track record. He doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. So those national championships that he won, he didn't handle those. He didn't know what he was doing with those quarterbacks, I guess. So I just believe that Nick Saban's got this. Tua Tagovailoa is the starting quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the backup. If you can play both of them in the game and they're happy with it and the team is happy with it and everybody's on the same page and they both play well, I think it's a good thing. Great call as always, Tom.
See you, Gary. Good job.